guys, how's it going? This is Bato, host of Share the Journey podcast. And I just wanted to give you guys a quick intro about what the podcast is about. Basically, it's in the title, Share the Journey. Oftentimes we hear people talk about, the journey. It's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. But in reality, we always just see the destination. We see the trophy. We see where that person ended up. And we don't really get insights to the beauty behind the journey. So this podcast really focuses on the beauty behind the journey. And we plan on having some really cool guests on that are in different stages of their journey, whether that's at the beginning, whether that's in the flesh in the middle of their journey, or whether they've completed that goal so they can share that entire journey. And I think, the main goal is for you guys, the viewers, to be able to, get possibly inspired by these different journeys so that you can see what it takes to reach that goal. And it might inspire you to kick off that same goal or maybe a different goal once you see all the steps that it takes. And that's really the goal, to shed that transparency so that you have more access to be able to see what it takes to reach these goals. And that's our goal. But yeah, today I'm really excited for the first guest, Oscar Heredia, who's a Latin dancer, and he's going to be sharing his journey about Latin dance and how he got into it and all that kind of good stuff, and the titles that he's won, and what his next goals are with it. And he's in the flesh of his journey, and we get the insights on it. So looking forward to it. See you guys here in a second. I want to welcome our first guest, Oscar Heredia. Welcome, bro.
What's up, bro?
Yeah. Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for inviting me.
Yo, it's so hard to get you. This is the first podcast, so episode 1, and you're always traveling, man. It's like New York, Miami, back and forth. I know you're in Cali, like different places, but yeah, man. How's the travel been?
I mean, traveling is a beautiful thing, just experiencing different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I usually travel for the main purpose of dance. That's the current path that I'm on, so that's just the dream I'm chasing. So when you're chasing the dream, it takes you everywhere. So
yeah, no, definitely. And it's crazy. I was talking about earlier, I was like, the whole podcast is like a work in progress.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't really like intro you perfectly. It's like, what does this guy do? But
it's all good.
Yeah,
everything's a work in process.
No, definitely. And so guys, as mentioned, Oscar Heredia, Latin dancer, 7 titles under his belt.
Yeah.
As an amateur dancer. And man, can you like shed some light on those 7 titles, which I think is pretty cool. I know you went to the World Salsa Summit and all that, but like, could you shed some light on those titles?
I mean, the journey has not been easy, but especially with COVID, a lot of self-discipline, just a lot of consistency, a lot of discipline, and just always reminding yourself that where you're trying to go. So in terms of the 7 titles, I had 5 titles in Canada and then 2 titles in Miami. But every competition that I've been at, along with my partner Melissa, we've been able to successfully place in just
shout out Melissa.
Yeah, shout out to Millie. Yeah.
She's cool peoples.
Yeah, she's cool.
No, that's pretty cool. And man, let's I know I kind of hit off the intro just kind of talking about the purpose of the podcast, which is like, really seeing this goal of like becoming a Latin dancer, but understanding like the steps that it took to get to that stage. And obviously you're like still in your journey.
Yeah.
So
beginning stages. Really.
Yeah, beginning stages. So I remember like going back years, like when you were first starting off in dance, because I know like you used to do the modeling, right?
Yeah.
Remember you used to go to New York and do all the modeling stuff. And I remember when you first, like, this is my first recognition of you getting into dance. I remember you telling me, you're like, yo, I'm gonna start like dancing. Yeah. And then I remember you started off with and I know I mentioned this a few times, where you were like, I'm taking a stretching class. Yeah. And you're also taking like a tap dance class. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I already knew the fact that you were taking classes outside of dance, that you were going to take this serious, right? Yeah. Because the tap dance helps you with your footwork, right? And the stretching, obviously, like just overall the dance, like being able to move in certain positions, etc. But how was it, like, what were all the steps that you had to take? Like, I know those are 2 of them, but like, what were all the ones that came in that package of like becoming like that Latin dancer,
Oh, there's a lot of stuff that comprises of being a Latin dancer. So as a Latin dancer, there's like 3 genres that I typically train in. It's like cha-cha, salsa, and bachata for the most part. Those are 3 dance styles that I typically dance with. But within salsa, there's multiple styles. So you got on 1, New York style, on 2, you got mambo. So there's a variety of styles within salsa, but the one I dance is on 2, which is also classified as mambo. But from a technical aspect, it's on 2. So things that I have to do to build towards that is cross-training in multiple other dance genres. So ballet, ballroom, stretching for flexibility.
I smiled on the ballet part because I seen a video recently.
Yeah.
Was it Georgia State? I can't. It was somewhere where you did.
It was probably Kennesaw.
Was it Kennesaw? Kennesaw, where you were. There was a bunch of ballet dance, and you were like in the middle.
Yeah.
They were all like dancing around you. I don't know how I didn't catch this before, but I just saw it the other day, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So yeah, continue. Sorry.
From my experience, I'm typically like usually the only guy in these dance classes.
Yeah.
When I usually cross train, especially in ballet, you don't really see many guys. It's usually women that are in ballet. But yeah, ballet has been a key style of dance that has really significantly like helped me evolve as a dancer.
Yep.
It's definitely helped like lay the foundation for me.
Definitely.
I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does. It's like all those components together is what holistically helps the entire experience.
So in order for you to be something, you have to be able to cross train and learn from other things, because that ultimately builds you to the person that you're striving to be.
Yeah, no, it definitely
makes sense. You have to be 100%. Open-minded, and you have to be willing to learn from others. And for example, me, it's like I'm cross-training in different styles, but in the process of learning different styles and different discipline, I'm cultivating my own style within all those styles that I'm training in.
Yeah, no,
that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I think I was watching something like a while ago where it was like Kobe did something like he took tap dance classes for his footwork. So it's crazy, like you don't often hear that at times in like sports, you know, but I'm pretty sure if you really go into the weeds of like the high level athletes.
I mean, Bruce Lee was a cha-cha-cha champion.
Word?
Yeah, he was a cha-cha-cha champion.
What?
Think about fighting, martial arts. It's all footwork.
All right, so check this out.
If you do syncopated footwork, you're already like.
I don't got all the understanding on the dancing stuff. So let's parse them out.
Yeah.
Cha-cha-cha. It just sounds like it's like super fast. Is like, can you break down like the different genres, like the style of the genres, like cha-cha-cha, like what exactly does that like define itself as? Like what kind of dance would you say?
So all of these dances come from Cuba, except the ones I dance was just like salsa, bachata, and cha-cha. Cha-cha was originally formed in Cuba.
Okay.
And it was cultivated within the States.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And bachata comes from Dominican Republic. That's where I'm from.
Gotcha.
And then salsa, it's a very complex history, but the term salsa was coined here in the States, but the roots come from Cuba. But if you want to go even a step further, it comes from West Africa. Yeah. So pretty much, if you want to go into the roots of salsa, it's from West Africa, and then it was brought over to Cuba. The traditions and culture was, furthered in Cuba, and then people migrated into the States, the musicians, the dancers, and then it was just been like a big melting pot. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
It's pretty complex for the most part, though, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we'll talk more about your journey, but this kind of just brings up a few more questions. So, you're Dominican, right? And, I was kind of thinking about the show, like, the point of this podcast is really, like, how do people find, like, their passion and purpose in life? I feel like it's one of the biggest questions, like, we ask ourselves sometimes. And I was actually with a friend last night, and he was actually telling me, like, he doesn't like he's trying to figure out what that thing is for him.
Yeah.
So what was that point of where you figured out like this is a passion and purpose of yours? And do you feel like you being Dominican already that like this was easier to find? You know, because it's kind of correlated with your culture.
In terms of finding your passion, I usually get asked that question as well.
Yeah.
I usually tell people who are like striving or like looking for their passion is sometimes you have all the tools you need. You have everything you already desire. It's just a matter of unlocking that or discovering it. Having a certain conversation with someone and you realizing that, oh, I know this. You know, it's like, I don't know if you ever read like the book The Alchemist, but pretty much this guy goes on this entire journey looking for treasure, and at the end of the book he realizes that he's been sitting on treasure the entire time. It's like he goes through this entire journey of searching for treasure. And
it was next to him the whole time.
He was sitting on it the entire time.
Well, what do you feel like? Do you remember the moment that you figured out this is what I want to pursue? Like, do you remember like what that triggering factor was? Because like I said, I've known you since like the modeling days, you know? And do you remember that moment of like, because you started like dancing, you know?
Yeah.
You were like what? How old were you when you started dancing?
I was 20 when I started dancing.
20, yeah. So like, what do you remember like what that was, like that factor, and like why you didn't start earlier?
Yeah. So when you're on this journey of looking for your passion, it's very important for you to like expose yourself to different opportunities. So that's what I did during my time in college. Like my first exposure to a community was like the car scene. You know, I was like building cars, I was going to car meets and stuff like that, but I found myself not really passionate about it. Like I like driving clean, but it's not like a community I really wanted to be involved in. And then like gym, that was another community I got involved in. Like I like the gym, I like working out, but not to the extent of making it like my, like being a personal trainer.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then I got into modeling. Same thing. I was exposing myself to a different opportunity, met a lot of people. But modeling was cool, but it wasn't like it didn't get me. It didn't get me like, oh, this is like the shit I'm trying to pursue. You know what I mean? Like, and then from modeling, I went to like mixed martial arts. So I did like Muay Thai, MMA, and it was fun, but it wasn't like I love it, you know? It was cool, like I liked it, but I didn't like, man, this is it.
It didn't like, it wasn't the thing that fully fulfilled you.
It didn't
like, it didn't feel like this was it.
Nah, it was like certain aspects of like, so the aspect of martial arts that fulfilled me was the training, the discipline, the getting better.
I always hear that.
The journey, progressing, seeing what you're capable of. Modeling was like connecting with people, understanding like self-worth, and getting like a message across, and like really having confidence to like put yourself out there even if you get rejected. Gym was like same thing as martial arts, like self-discipline, training towards something. Car was like building something from scratch and seeing the end product.
And this all led up to that moment of like, we're talking about all these stages, and then you had the stage of like when you started like the dance part.
Yeah, so these were all chapters that eventually led me to like dance. Yeah, so after like fighting, like, cause I did Muay Thai and MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. After my time of that, I like came across dance, and then dance just like.
What was the first like? What was the first time you came across it? Do you remember what it was? Was it like what was it?
I mean, dancing has always been a part of my life for the most part.
Okay.
But like not like trained dance, not like structured dance. It was like more like backyard dance, family get-togethers, and like hip hop dances because I listen to a lot of hip hop.
So you wouldn't say it was one thing. Like there wasn't like a moment where you saw someone that was doing like taking dance serious and you were like, I want to try this.
I'll say my first...
I guess I'm trying to find like that one thing, and I'm like trying to see like, because I feel like oftentimes a lot of people, they feel like something is gonna just hit them at once where they're gonna be like, this is exactly what I want to do. And I feel like you're really hammering this point really well, where it's like it's actually like accumulation of things. It's like just taking that first step. I feel like a lot of people are just like at the bottom of the staircase. And just always looking up and never taking that first step because they're afraid of like, well, maybe that might not be for me. It's like if you take a couple steps and you go on the first floor, it's like, and you walk around that first floor and you're like, well, this is not for me. Cool. Like you get out, go on the second floor, go on the third floor, go on the fourth floor. Then on the fourth floor, you might be like, wow, this is what fulfills me. But like the fact that you started taking those steps, even though you didn't want to end up, in the car space, MMA, modeling, etc. Those were all like components that like eventually got you to like getting into dance.
And they're all connected.
Yeah. And now like jumping back, what was the thing? Like was there like one moment of like this is what like triggered the dance, or was it just like seamless? Like you just kind of naturally went into it?
Well, I can tell you how I joined dance and the reason behind it.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So because what you're asking is almost like a collective kind of thing that led up to it. But the reason why I joined dance is because dance has always been like a long-term fear of mine. Like
fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this.
As I mentioned before, it wasn't like like dancing has always been part of my life, but I've been avoiding dance my entire life. So like these dance parties we would have, I would shy away all the time because I was so conscious of like what people thought of me, even though they were like my family members.
Yeah.
Like I still like feared and shied away from judgment. So anytime they would try to drag me to the dance floor, I'd be like, no. Like I would rather die, Yeah, it was that dramatic.
It's crazy seeing where you're at now and you saying that back then. That, like,
I mean, yeah, my family's always like surprised.
Now like you're the first one on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like you wouldn't even go on the dance floor.
Yeah. So, one was to overcome my fears. Two was to just be more in tune with the culture. That's cool. Because it's like it's almost like dance is like a part of where I come from. It's part of the culture. It's like the way of living. So I just wanted to connect with the culture and the people.
Lifestyle.
More. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then three would have to be like I was trying to impress a girl at the time. So those are like three.
Oh man.
Those are like the three main things, pretty much.
Oh wow. Okay.
So overcoming the fear of long time dancing in front of people, connecting with the culture and the people of the culture, and then three, impress like a girl that I was like trying to kick it to at the time.
Dang. So
it didn't work out though. So that even like motivated me even more, to like push through. And like I originally went into like the dance just for one private, which was at Pasofino. Shout out to Jose. It was a bachata private, and then everything else is history. I was just like, I love everything about it. Like, dang, it's crazy.
That's real.
I always tell people like the things that you fear the most in life is sometimes the thing that's gonna. What you fear the most in life is often, if not often, sometimes the passion you've always been looking for. So on the other side of fear is like your greatness, in other words. Not all the time, but I would say like in many cases that I've like experienced for myself, as well as like studied successful people, they often find their passion or their truth on the other side of fear.
That's real. So, all right, we did, car stuff, all that thing, like all those components, and then, the 3 points that you mentioned, lady that finally kicks off the whole thing. So then, like, all right, so those were like the things that got you into it? So now we spoke about like one of the first things. I remember the early days, you were joining the stretching classes, you're joining the tap dance, ballet, all that kind of good stuff. So what kind of came after that? Because I guess like I'm also trying to shed some light on, for like a viewer that's like someone that's watching this video right now, that wants to become a Latin dancer, that like wants to become a professional Latin dancer. What's the next step that they would take? So the first thing is, you know, all right, ballet, tap dance, stretch. What was the next thing that you started? Like, did you join like some kind of a team, a place where like dancers came together? Like, what was that part?
Yeah, so the first thing I did, because the cross training aspect like came after I initiated the journey. I was part of a team. I was part of a team, the Paso Fino team here in Atlanta, and that really helped cultivate like a structure for me, like a foundation. So if I would recommend for anyone that's like fresh, trying to pursue a career as a Latin dancer within the realm of like salsa or bachata or cha-cha, within that realm, I would recommend, or in any realm really, this applies in every field, but I'm particularly talking about Latin dance because that's the subject we're talking about.
Yeah, it's the goal.
To start off with, find yourself a teacher that you can like trust, because when you choose a teacher, you're not just choosing a teacher for what they can give you in terms of like a skill level. They're also like gonna be teaching you like life skills along the way. So it's important for you to find a teacher that you trust, not just with your dancing, but other aspects of your life, because that is gonna easily cross over into that. So teacher is one.
Pretty much a mentor, right?
Yeah,
essentially what they become.
Essentially, that's what they become, a teacher that you can trust. Also, he or she becomes your mentor as well.
Yeah.
And being part of a team really helps as well. So finding the teacher or mentor, finding a team, and studying.
Gotcha.
Yeah, studying the thing that you love so that you can progress. So what I mean by studying is studying the material that your teacher's given, and also doing like personal studying, like personal research of the history, the culture, the music, the instruments, the musicality, because there's so much more to it, and applying all of that into your training. I know that's a lot, but just break it down. Find a teacher or a mentor that you can really trust, because that person is really going to help you progress. A team, because you learn how to work with people, you understand how to communicate. And 3, studying. Gotcha. Personal studying,
and no, those are really good points.
Yeah.
No, those are really good points. And I guess my question to that is, how'd you find like, because like you're like, you know, find the mentor, find the team. Like, what does it take for one to find those individuals? Like, did you just like Google it and you were like, bachata, salsa, like,
so
equipa, like,
yeah, so pretty much like the way I did it when I first started off, I just Googled it, best Latin dance studio, whatever, in Atlanta, and then Paso Fino came up, and I just clicked, and I was just called.
That's it.
And then everything else.
That's pretty cool. So when you called Paso Fino, when you called them, so you gave them a call, you know, you signed up and all that good stuff. You went to the training sessions. That's where you met your mentor, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's where you met everything. No, that's pretty cool. So yeah, you know, find like a local area in your city or town where like they have that. Obviously, it depends on per state, right? Mm-hmm. So like it seems like in Atlanta, I know New York is really huge on Latin dance. Yeah. Miami, etc.
Yeah, it's definitely like the
so
Mecca.
I'm really glad that like you were able to, like, imagine if you Googled and there wasn't anything.
Yeah.
Dang, you know, that'd be so much more tough. But the fact that you Googled and you found something, that's huge. And I feel like that's somewhat like the Kickstarter to like your whole journey, right? Yeah. Would you say, like, you know, like that first team, that mentor, it kind of showed you like, wow, there's more people doing this, And it's not like, I feel like oftentimes when someone is like working on a specific journey and a goal, it's like it can get a little bit lonely. But it seems like you guys had a team like around you that had the same goal. Like you guys all had the same goal, you know, and we're kind of like pushing each other to get better. So that teamwork part seems huge.
Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't just a performance team. It was a competition team. So the team, my first team, I was very grateful. I mean, I'm very grateful and thankful to have been part of a competition team for my first team, because that really like.
It set the bar?
It set the bar.
Yeah, because they were competing, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were doing that to compete.
Yeah.
Training to compete.
So we were really training towards something rather than just like performing.
Yeah.
Not saying anything bad about performing, but like competition just has a different element to it.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to have a different kind of mentality.
There's a goal too in that one. Like within that goal, there's a goal, and the goal is to win. But when you're just like training, it's like, yeah, you're training to get better in certain aspects, but like you guys, like you went in and everyone there was like focused on winning a title or like winning this or winning that, and you know, you guys kind of saw that together collectively.
Yeah, and when you're like on a competition path, you just have more obstacles, I would say, that you have to like overcome.
Yeah.
Because okay, you want to win a competition, all right, you got to find a teacher, you got to cross-train in different styles so that you can get better at what you're currently doing.
Yeah, I'm smiling for a second because before all this, I told you I had pomegranate juice. You said you never had pomegranate juice.
It's pretty good, man.
You never.
No,
this guy never had pomegranate juice before. So yeah, we had to actually reset the video. But yeah, what I was laughing about is like, I thought it was your first time drinking pomegranate when I told you before the show that I got some pomegranate.
Nah, it's just my first time drinking out of
this brand.
Fancy.
Yeah,
fancy
no, definitely. I like this one honestly, mainly because it doesn't have any added sugar. So just kind of aiming for something that doesn't have the added sugar. It's got it naturally, so they say it's good. So putting it to the spin. But going back into it, so we were talking about like in the competition space, like when you jumped into that first team, because they were in competition mode, it kind of like when you first jumped in, it was like instantly like a different level of like training and stuff. Like they had a certain goal set in mind.
Yeah,
so it was kind of different.
Yeah, we definitely
just performance.
Yeah, we definitely had a different mindset because our goal was more like concrete. Like, okay, our goal is to compete and win, obviously.
Yep.
So the way we went about it was like discipline training and other elements. I mean, competition's more about the physical aspect. It's really like when it comes to competition, like yeah, you want to build muscle memory and like learn the choreo and the routine, but it really comes down to the mindset you have, the mentality you have behind it. It's like, man, I want to say it's like 60% mindset, and then like 40% like the physical aspect of the training, because
that makes sense too. I feel like a lot of it is mental. Like you said, there's the muscle memory, there's a physical part, but a lot of it is like the mental part of like, man, like there's like, yeah, that mental is just so vital and important. But I guess to take it one step back really quick. So you jump in, like you find this group, you start joining this group, they're in like competition mode. That like you jump into that space and like you're at like a really high level of like training, right? So what happened after, like how long were you there like with that team?
So that was my first team that I was a part of, and the only team I've been, well, never mind. That was the first team I was a part of. I was there for 2 years, I think.
2 years?
Yeah.
Was it always competition mode those 2 years?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was because when I first joined, I was part of the training team.
Okay.
The training team was the competition team, though. So yeah.
Nice. So you were with them.
And they just like transitioned from being strictly like performing to competition. So it was relatively new to everyone within that space.
Mm-hmm.
Competition. So.
Oh, gotcha. That makes total sense. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So you were with them, let's say, for approximately 2 years, right?
Yeah, I want to say 2 years.
And then did you switch to another team after?
No, me and my current dance partner, Melissa Delgado. Yeah. Yeah, me and her left the team and started doing our own thing. So we just had our partnership.
Okay.
So we've been doing couples, salsa, and cha-cha.
Yep.
And then also competing as soloists. So that's what we've been doing.
Nice. And so you've been on that team for 2 years, and ever since then, you guys have just been training solo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we decided to leave the team and just do our own thing. Takes a lot more discipline, a lot more sacrifice, a lot more commitment, a lot more everything. Atlanta has a lot of talent, but it doesn't necessarily have like the teachers and instructors and coaches that we want to. So because of that, we've been having to really travel to train.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And cross-train a lot to make up for that.
That makes sense, because I remember a lot of the times when you tell me like you're in New York or, you know, a different state, you just went there to train.
Yeah.
I found that interesting. I was like, just to train?
Exactly.
I was like, man, that's dedication. Like just flying out there, and you would be there for like a few days to train to come back.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's pretty cool. Like you get that, even though you guys can train on your own, you get that little boost of like new learnings or whatever it is that kind of like allows you to use that almost like energy pack that you earn from going, that you get from going there, that allows you to like be on your own for like 3 months. And then you get that again, you know, you keep getting that refuel. And
I almost see it as like a test check. It's like, okay, I've been training this much on my own. Let's see how.
That's good.
Let's see how better. Rank up against people that are training among.
Yep.
The greats all the time. You know what I mean?
No, that makes total sense.
And every time I go to a place where, like New York, for instance, I'm always like, okay, I like test myself. Like, okay, am I training myself accordingly on my own?
Okay.
So.
That's fair.
And it's been good. But cool. It's definitely not enough, you know. It's the ideal situation is to be in an environment where you're always around like talented people getting it, you know. You have your coaches there. You don't have to like fly around everywhere, but you gotta do what you can with the things you got, you know, and not let any other factor or variable stop you from getting it.
Yeah, that's important, man.
Yeah.
And what it seems like to me on that point really is like access. Like if you could have access to that at a pretty close distance, that you could basically just allocate more time towards that. Like you just in access, you know. So I think that seems like that would be important. But go ahead. You got it.
The thing about access. Something I'm learning on my journey is the more access people tend to have, the more comfortable they tend to become.
Mm-hmm.
I see that all the time. You have someone that's, let's say Michael Jordan's training you.
Yep.
He gives classes every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you show up to get classes from Michael Jordan. But you're just so comfortable of just showing up. You think that's enough. Just showing up.
Yep.
It's like, no, showing up is just not enough. You have to go back home, understand yourself, apply the things you learn from that person, and really drill it. You know, it's about understanding that person's teaching and understanding yourself. If you have both of those, understanding of yourself and an understanding of the teachers and their teaching,
it kind of like all ties together.
Yeah,
and you truly like develop
your style, your sense
organically,
of self.
like you develop this whole like experience, this whole skill that you built. Like you can't break easily. It's like you built a really solid foundation.
You're grounded.
Yeah,
like nobody taking you from your spot.
That's really cool. You know what I thought about? Because like for dance, right? like, yeah, it's easier in a studio, but it's not like if you're playing like soccer, if you're playing basketball, like that you need a ball or that you need like a hoop, that you could practice in your garage.
Yeah.
Some moves, or you could like walk around the house and just like try to move out. You know, as you're training. Yeah. You know, so that's the cool part about it. But I wanted to kind of get into competition, competing.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got 7 titles, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 7 titles. What was your first title? Like, do you remember like your first title of like winning your first title?
My first title was like last summer with my partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember. It was for cha-cha. It was a long journey because we came off of COVID.
Oh, I remember that.
So COVID really stripped us from a lot of things. You know, we weren't really able to travel and meet up with like our coaches and train. So we had to do everything virtually, you know? And we didn't even do much virtually, you know, in terms of like one-on-one training with our coaches because it was a lot of money, and also like we didn't really see the value of it because there's so much that gets lost in virtual communication, especially dance. You get a lot of things get lost within that translation. So we just honed down on ourselves as dancers. And cross-trained within Georgia, particularly ballet.
Okay.
And then my other coach, Anna. And
shout out Anna, huh?
Yeah, right. Shout out to her. She really helped evolve
That's nice.
me as a dancer for real. She revolutionized my dancing. But anyways, what I was getting to, COVID really like made us hone down on our skills as dancers, and really taught us a lot about like dedication, commitment, and really like.
So that first title was not easy. Like, it was a difficult.
I
guess like all
titles,
that made it a little bit like.
Titles are cool, but like at the end of the day, it's like. It's just a trophy, you know. It's like.
But going into it, knowing that you could win your like, you didn't even like it never like. Because at that point, you were kind of competing to win something. Even though the trophy maybe didn't mean much after you got it. So do you feel like you had any kind of feeling of like, you know, you guys trained, competed, COVID was tough, and then like you got your first trophy? Like,
yeah, it's always a good feeling to be rewarded for like your work, you know?
Yeah.
You know, have some kind of physical representation of the things you sacrifice and the amount of work you put into something, you know?
Yeah.
So it's definitely nice, you know?
I like how you're saying that about your first title. I figured like you'd probably say that after like the 7th. Off the rip, you're like, well, it ain't really about the title. I'm like, well, dang, that crushes the whole like trying to talk about the title. But no, that makes total sense, man. I guess like never getting too excited.
To me, it's not about like the title. It's like it's about the journey.
It's about the journey.
It's about the journey, bro.
Plugging the podcast.
It's about the journey. It's about the process. The title is cool because it's a representation of all of your hard work, but the journey, the process, getting to that point, the people you connect with, you know, the relationships you build, the impact. It's just so much more than just like this can be a trophy. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's a nice representation, but like everything that happened before that trophy is so much more valuable than
it's
this.
Everything. It's everything.
It's what makes you.
Yeah.
It's what makes life the journey.
Yeah. That's no, man. I like that a lot because
you just place a trophy in your room and be like, okay.
Yeah.
You feel good about it, and when you get it in like a week after, you're like, yeah, I did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like time goes on, it's like, okay,
no,
that was cool. Let's keep it moving, you know?
No, definitely. So, you win, like, the first title. And it's crazy. For some reason, I thought you won one before that. But, so pretty much since last summer, you've won, like, all your titles? Like,
so, you probably seen, like, me getting trophies or, like, medals. But that was, like, usually, like, heats.
Okay.
Heats, yeah. So
can you explain like what
a heat is pretty much
for those that like don't understand it myself?
Yeah, competition heats are pretty much a freestyle dance. The judges play a song and they judge you.
They pick the song?
Well, the DJ plays a random song, so if
you gotta like adjust to it immediately. Like
you just gotta freestyle.
Oh, that's
and you're among all these other competitors, and you're just freestyling, and the judges are judging you according to their criteria: musicality, timing, showmanship, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, me and my partner Melissa, we've won a lot of heats, and we've also placed in every competition that we've been to.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably like seen us like get trophies like 3rd place or something like that.
Yeah.
But like the trap trophy I like value the most is not even the ones that's like in 1st place. It'll be like 2nd place or like 3rd place. Those are the ones that's
why?
Why?
You gotta tell us why.
Yeah.
Cause you're like you don't value the titles and it's like but you value the 3rd place. I gotta
I'm saying like the one that means like I don't know. It's weird, but like our 2nd place at the World Salsa Summit that happened last month in January.
Mm-hmm.
2nd place.
2nd place in World Salsa Summit.
Yeah.
Out of how many people competed?
In that division?
Yeah.
I think it was like 6.
6.
Yeah, 6. 2nd place, but last summer, we competed in that same division and got last place. So imagine you working so hard during the entire COVID, like a year and a half or whatever, working so hard on this routine, putting everything you have into this routine, just so that you can show up to a competition to get last place. It was very devastating for us, for real. It was.
No, I'm laughing.
It's real laughing.
No. Look, I was laughing because I was thinking in my head as you're talking. I was like, yo, they should have gave you a trophy for last place so you can remember that one. Like, that might be your favorite trophy,
Yeah, the thing is, we didn't get last place because we like suck as dancer. We got last place because like the mindset we had going into it wasn't there. So that just like threw us off completely, and it just like resulted us in like getting last place. And it was definitely like devastating because it's like, damn. I remember standing there and just like they didn't call our names, and then we eventually look at the sheet and we were last place. Like, damn.
So how does it go? They call like the first 3 people's names?
Yeah. Top three.
And then you were like, you looked at your partner and you were like, yo, like,
I was like,
let's go see where we at. And then on that paper, you saw y'all were last.
I mean,
was it like a paper? I guess.
Yeah, it was like a paper, like online. But
it was online. But you remember that moment though. I feel like that moment stuck.
We remember
inside of you.
Cause man, after that we didn't like. It was such a quiet night. I was just like, damn, you put in a lot of work. And then when we got back to Georgia, we just put in work. We just had to keep going, even though we took a big L, a big loss. And then January came around and we did it. Like we got 2nd place, and it was good. It was a good feeling, to just come back with like a vengeance and like really showcase us.
So that's huge, man. You guys went from last place to 2nd place.
Yeah.
And wow, like I like how you're sharing a part of the journey where like I feel like you're going more into like the what people will call like the down moments of like all that, but it seems like you value that so much because it built you up to like
it did
to everything that y'all do. So I guess when does that competition happen again? Because wouldn't it be obviously the goal for you guys for that would be to get 1st place, right?
Yeah, 1st place for sure.
When is that one?
That competition is gonna happen again next year, next January.
Next January?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's still some time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's cool. So first title, you remember it, but it didn't really mean much. It was just like a title. But the ones that really mattered to you were the ones that like you came back and y'all did way better.
Yeah.
And that mentality part seems like it's a huge component of like what helped you guys kind of go through everything. What do you guys look like when you're training now? For example, like, in sports, like you playing soccer, right? For example, you're practicing because you have a game coming up Sunday. I'm talking like in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was thinking about myself, but then I was like saying.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
I'm like, what?
We did play soccer once together on that grass field at that park. Remember we did a photo shoot once years ago? I have a video of us playing. That park.
I remember us playing basketball.
No, we played soccer at that Lillian Webb Park. At that grass field. I got video. I'm gonna show you footage.
Okay, yeah, I remember now.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you did play soccer once, but I was saying like in soccer, or like sports in general, right? You're practicing because you have a game coming up that weekend. But for you guys, what's kind of keeping everything going? Like, cause you had rehearsal today, right? Like before this, didn't you just have like you were just training, right?
Yeah.
So what are you training towards right now? Like, or like what keeps you guys like going? Is it like a competition that's coming up? So like we're gonna get ready for that. Like we start training for that. Like what is it? I guess I'm trying to relate it back to sports because like you have a game coming up. You and your team are practicing to get ready for the game.
Yeah, it's usually.
What about you guys?
We're prepping for our next performance or competition, but generally speaking, this is what we love to do. It's our passion, and we want to continue to evolve as dancers so that one day we can be professional dancers. So right now, that's.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because that literally segues this perfectly into that professional talk. So the beauty behind, I guess, like the journey and the purpose really behind this podcast is like, it's not really about having guests, because we will have guests that like completed their goal and that are professionals in sports and different things, but also guests like yourself that like you're an amateur in that space, you know, you competed, won, etc. and all that stuff, but you're on this journey of like getting to that professional status. So with that being said, what does it take now to take it to that next step, that professional step? What does it take?
Oh man,
Because we're gonna look back at this video. I mean, look.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, man, I believe in you. Like for real. Like I'm confident in you, and like, so I know you're gonna look back at this video and be like, oh wow, this is when I was an amateur.
Yeah.
So like, I'm saying like, what does it take though to get to like professional and?
So. Right now, that I know of, there's 3 main categories. There's amateur, rising star, and then professional.
Okay.
So my next level would be rising star, then pro.
Okay.
So the steps I need to take is pretty much just train more, train with the right people, and just produce more.
How do you like? Who gives you the title, like rising star? Like, how does that work?
I mean.
Do you go somewhere to compete and they're like, you won X amount and then like you're a rising star now? Like, how does it work?
So it's really up to the person. Like, it varies depending on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can be, if I wanted to, I can like, tomorrow, if I wanted to, I can be like, okay, I'm just going to be rising star right now. Or I'm just going to be a pro right now.
Can you explain that? like, I'm trying to like get a grip and understand like how.
Yeah, there's a lot of individuals that, you know,
like that you could just call your own title. Okay.
Yeah, like there's a lot of individuals who call themselves like pro, but they don't necessarily have the skill level of a pro or credibility of a pro. So what I'm saying is like I don't have enough credibility or reputation
right
or
now.
skill to be a pro yet. And I feel like that the same as being a rising star. So it's really up to the individual.
So you'll know when you're a rising star? When are you gonna know?
I don't know, me personally, I don't know when I'm like ready to be a rising star once I win like the amateur divisions that I'm like trying to win.
Ah, okay.
You know what I mean?
So getting more of those titles under your belt, that kind of is it the titles part?
in certain categories, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
But yeah.
So that's the next step is actually rising star, not professional.
Yeah.
That's pretty
like
cool.
I'm not trying to rush the process. There's a lot of people that are just trying to rush to their destination. Like I really want to I have a lot of respect and admiration for the art. So I really want to take my time with things because like I see this a lot. Like people rush the process, and then the steps that they miss or didn't take, it's eventually gonna hit them down the road. You know what I mean? So I want to really build myself as a dancer and really feel it for what it is. This way, I am like complete. I'm more of a complete dancer when I hit the finish
like
line.
Moving slowly and steady, but like building everything you're supposed to build. So when you get to that stage, it's like there's no doubt about it.
Exactly.
It's like, this is it.
Exactly.
You know, like this is it. And no, because as you're like talking, I'm thinking about it. Exactly. And even though like, and I had to ask this question because I feel like a lot of people watching too have that question of like, we're not used to it. That like how do you just call yourself a professional? Because in sports, like you get signed to a professional league, on a professional team that makes you a professional.
Yeah.
But for you guys, it's a lot of like solo, and you guys are like, as a collective kind of figuring things out.
Yeah.
But no, that makes total sense. No, that's definitely pretty cool. It makes me think about boxing a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
mean, you start off as an amateur, and I believe they also have like semi-pro.
Yeah, you get like an X amount of fights. I don't know how it works exactly.
Yeah, it's. But you can compare it to that. Yeah.
That makes sense. But
it's like it really comes down to the individual. If they want to be like labeled as a certain thing. But from a technical standpoint, within our scene, an amateur is one that does not get paid at all for dance. A rising star is someone who gets somewhat. They get compensated. They get compensated, but it's not their full-time thing. They got another full-time occupation. A professional dancer is when the individual dance is their full-time occupation. Yeah. They got a team, they got a studio, they're booked. That makes a professional.
Yo, I'm getting excited just kind of hearing you talk about that.
So there's levels. Yeah. So from a technical standpoint, that's what makes a pro.
That makes sense.
A rising star, and an amateur. Yeah. So right now, I'm not being compensated for any of the things I do. Right now, I'm like in that training. I'm always gonna be in that training mode, but like this is like really.
Well, someone could technically kind of hire you to do like a dance, like at a party or something.
I mean,
but yeah, it's like it's not. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Cool. So that's pretty cool, man. Wow, I'm like already kind of puzzling like all these puzzles. And I'm pretty sure the viewers, like people that are watching, they could kind of puzzle it themselves too. Where it's like, okay,
that's a lot. But
you started from like the research, you found that team, you started training with that team, kind of worked your way through it. Won a couple titles here and there, and just continuously competing to kind of work yourself up to that. I was like, I mean, Latin dance is huge, right? And but I'm trying to like from your perspective, because you're in the weeds of all that. How huge is it like to the entire world? Because I'm trying to think about like family like in Eastern Europe, if they actually like if they know about like Latin dance, like how big is it from your perspective? Like
it's big. Like there's pockets all over the world that know about the scene. Like it's big. We have festivals all over the world. Yeah, that's why people are really able to sustain a career within our realm, because there's a lot of people that's always demanding instructors to go over there and teach them. Yep. Have festivals. So yeah, it's known worldwide for sure, and it's such a universal thing. Like it doesn't matter what language you speak. Yep. Like if you dance with someone that doesn't speak your language, and you guys connect with the same language of dance.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, and now that I'm even... No, for sure. Literally. And now that I'm even thinking about it more, I feel like a lot of people, like even like what I mentioned, like Eastern Europe, even if they, if it's not at scale that everyone knows about it, the people that do, they love it. They love it. Like they love it.
They're like hardcore.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's definitely amazing. And man, so I mean, this is like, it's crazy. Like I'm starting to think about it, like, about your journey thus far. It's pretty cool, like you're in the flesh right now of it. And I know that like we talked about that, you'll look back into this moment of like where you're at now, but yeah, I mean the journey, man, like it's everything. And what are some things that have stuck out to you the most though, that you could share with others, that like something that journey? Really like something that stuck to you the most about this journey so far, and then also on top of that, like any advice that you would give for someone that's watching this and actually wants to tap into Latin dance?
That's a good one. That sounds like 2 questions though.
It is.
So the first question is like what I've learned from.
Yeah, like what
are my biggest takeaways? From
biggest takeaways, and then just kind of like whether
we gonna finish that.
We're gonna finish the whole thing, and if that bleeds into like the advice part, maybe it does. I don't know, but like the biggest takeaway, and then what is something for like a viewer that's watching that wants to get into Latin dance, that literally is like listening to this interview is like, I want to like get into Latin dance. Like, what would you like tell them?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question,
it's 2 questions, all right?
Yeah.
I get it.
First one, dang. Biggest takeaway, I would have to say, there's so many, but just to tell you the ones from the top of my head, would have to be self-worth. I think it's very important for you to understand who you are as an individual and the value you can bring to anything you apply yourself in. So self-worth is very important. Consistency is key. Anything you want to accomplish in life, there's no magic tricks. It's just a matter of consistency and applying yourself. And believing in yourself. The whole world can believe in you, but if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to accomplish your greatness. So to summon those up, self-worth. The second one I forgot. What was the second one?
Consistency.
Self-worth, consistency, and believing in yourself.
Yeah. Man.
Those would have to be the 3, not main takeaways, but those are like the 3 takeaways I can think of right now.
No, I like
that's
that.
Been a part of
I like
my
that.
journey.
I asked for 1. This man gave me 3. So we'll take it.
Yeah.
And I like how earlier in the show I was like, I believe in you. You're like, I believe in myself. I was like, all right, bet. That'd be cool. I was trying to like be truly honest. He's just like, I believe in myself. But oh dang. So yeah, I'll let you answer that second question.
The second question.
You're gonna be like, I forgot the second question.
Yeah, I forgot.
Second question is like, if viewers that are watching right now, and if someone's that's watching that's like, man, I really want to get into Latin dance. I've always wanted to get into Latin dance. What's the first step that they should take?
You know, the first step is just to do it. I get people coming up to me quite often talking about they want to start it and things of that nature. But the thing that holds them back is usually like fear. When you think too much about something, fear just takes over. Your mind tends to like talk you out of certain things because you don't want to be in an uncomfortable situation that may cause like humiliation, embarrassment, things of negative emotions, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
People try to avoid that. But what I would say to the viewers is just to do it. Face that fear. Who cares what people think about your actions? Just do it. Life is short. Like just do it. Just do it. If it's something that you really want to pursue, Latin dance or anything in life, just do it. Just do it. Take that jump.
Dang.
It's your life. It's your life at the end of the day. You know?
No.
100%. So just do it. And like I said before, like your greatness is often on the other side of your fears. So the moment you realize that and you commit to that action, there's nothing that can stop you.
Dang. I feel like honestly, I feel like this is a good way to like start closing off the podcast. Like I think you hit it well. I think you plugged in Nike a little too much. But no, all that makes total sense, man. And no, again, man, like I really appreciate you for this for jumping on episode 1.
Episode 1.
Like I said in the beginning of it, I was like, just plugging it all together, trying to figure it out. we're gonna definitely have more guests that, you know, like we said, that are either fully completed their goal, that are in the journey, or even some that are in the literally beginning stages, and just kind of showcasing that transparency where you could see what it takes to reach any goal. The goal of the podcast eventually is for a viewer to, any goal that they want in life, they could kind of like see someone that's going through it and get insights to it, and just to give them that transparency that gives them that confidence to be able to kick off that goal. So I think honestly, like, you're a really prime example of someone that wants to jump into Latin dance by, you know, viewing this journey. And I think I'm happy for you. I would say I believe in you, but hey, man. But you believe in yourself, which matters the most. That's key. That's everything. But
I appreciate you believing in me, because that definitely does help. You know, having that support system really helps. Like, being around genuine, authentic people that truly support you and what you love doing really helps. You know, it's like, it complements, like, you believing in yourself, but it's like, it's like a boost.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me on this podcast, so like everything it stands for. And I really believe like this platform will definitely connect people in a different capacity. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, and this is what it's all about, like genuine conversation, things that really matter, and not like filtered conversations. Getting into the core of things that truly matter.
Yep.
I think that's
definitely
valuable.
No,
yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And man, I guess we'll close it off at that. Appreciate everyone watching. Stay tuned for more podcasts on different goals, different journeys for you guys to check out. Okay. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
It was great. It was fun.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
It was definitely fun.
The juice.
The pomegranate.
Yeah.
Took us to the next level.
Yeah.
Yo,
hey.
cheers.